All right, guys, welcome to Wide Awake News Radio. Charlie McGrath on this 19th day of March, Tuesday, joined by Dex, PulseCan72 from YouTube, Black Ops Trader Extraordinaire, shuffling papers around there. I can hear you, Dex. What you doing, buddy?
Sorry, I
I
try
know
to
you're
be
on your
quiet.
I know you're on your flight to the undisclosed location because of the imminent pending run on the banks that's going to start in Europe and then spread across the ocean and cause mass pandemonium and chaos. But you know what? We need to get into this topic, buddy. I know I'm saying this kind of tongue in cheek, and to bring everybody up to speed. If you haven't heard the news, the parliament inside of Cyprus has rejected out of hand by a vote of, I don't have that right in front of me. I believe there was only 17 folks in Parliament that voted for. 36 lawmakers rejected the plan, with a 36 voting no and 19 abstaining. I don't know who the people who dared to vote yes to this deal were. Obviously, they are on the payroll directly of the banking cabal. But the Cyprus haircut, the Cyprus robbery, the grab of cash has been voted down by the parliament inside of Cyprus. So what does this mean? Well, it really doesn't mean anything, because the plan is already put into place. And if there's anything that we have learned over the last several years, it is once the bankers have in their mind that they're going to screw you over, you are going to get screwed over. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So the shot was fired across the bow. Cyprus was the test case. They stood up and said no. Isn't it ironic? You know, we can look back and see the exact same scenario play out in the United States of America on September, I believe, 28th, 2008, when we had Congress the last time stood up for the American people and told the banking cabal, no, we're not going to give you $700 billion that we now know is in the true number range of who knows how many trillions of dollars of our financial future in order to rescue the industries. What happened? Mass pandemonium, chaos, mainstream media jumping on board. It's going to be the end of the world. They got their way the very next day. So we can be rest assured that the battle over screwing people over in Cyprus, in Greece, in Spain, and the rest of Europe and the United States, this battle isn't going to stop with this vote. If anything, we'll see a shutdown, a failed government, an implementation and an installation of a technocrat so they can go ahead and do the right thing, which is steal money directly from the people. All right, to talk about this, we've got Dex, PaulScan72 from YouTube. What do you think of this news? I didn't really talk to you much in your chat room today, but what do you make of this? Here's, before you answer that, let me say this. I truly believe Thursday morning, their banks are on bank holiday until Thursday. And if you happen to be a listener and you happen to be in Cyprus, which I don't know if we have any listeners in Cyprus or not, but here's my point. If you're in Cyprus or anywhere else in Europe, and you know what, you can almost say this for across the pond to here, but if you're in Cyprus and you have money in a bank and you felt the wind of the bullet just go across your forehead because they were coming to take your money, and the only thing that stopped them is a last-second vote by Parliament, and you need to understand this isn't going to stand. This vote that benefits the people of Cyprus isn't going to be the rule of law in Cyprus. They are going to come and get your money. That's what they do. They're not going to just say, okay, well, since we can't take the people's money, we'll do something different. Maybe we'll make the banks take a bigger haircut. No, they are not going to give this up. So for 1 second, if you think your money is safe in there, then you deserve to lose it. That's all I have to say about that. If you wake up Thursday and the first stop you're not making driving down the street isn't to your bank to take your money out, and you're in Cyprus, then you are completely and utterly out of your mind. Dex, is that a terrorist act? Am I fomenting a bank run?
Yes, you are.
Oh, yeah, I thought about that halfway through that statement.
Well, first of all, I think we have excellent reception. As you know, I'm in the air.
Yes, sir.
I'm headed overseas. I've left the United States with my family because within the next 48 hours, the banking system there is going to utterly collapse. and they will be calling martial law. I'm just sorry that you couldn't come with me, Charlie. But
Yeah, I wish I'd like the heads up.
I had to do what I had to do. I was only thinking of myself. So, I mean,
I
hey,
hope you have Teresa and the kids with you.
no, I mean they couldn't get up in time. I had to go. I mean, I get up early anyway, and they were still sleeping, so I just had to go. It's man for himself. I mean, I wish them the best. I wish you the best.
Well, that is how we operate. It's all about you taking care of oneself, and that's it. And look where it has got us. But let's be serious for a minute, Dex. We're waiting for an event to occur, right? In this genre, but certainly in independent media, we're all calling it that this is going to end extremely badly. It's going to end with nations being broke and people being poor and people in the streets, civil unrest. There's going to be blood. This is what's going to happen. There's no doubt in my mind whatsoever. It's only a matter of when, not if, this will occur. And a trigger event like this is exactly. I did a video a few months back where my brother and I practice, a get home plan in event of a sovereign debt meltdown.
That was an awesome video too, by the way.
Oh, thank you. But it was a very similar scenario to this. In fact, I think I said in it, we woke up on a Monday and found out that, the sovereign debt of some small European nation, blah, 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 the way everything's the web of debt, as we've talked about on the program before, it affects us immediately, and it's chaos in the streets because of one little event that was the domino that pushed the next domino and so forth and so on. And next thing you know, it is total panic. I truly believe that an event like we have in Cyprus right now, something like that, where you'll have a small bank run that will turn into a medium bank run that will turn into jumping the border and getting into countries like Italy, massive bank run, and then bam, it is game over. There's no containing it once that starts to occur. I don't know if this is it. Let me say that right now. I don't know if Friday morning we wake up to financial Armageddon, but it will be an event similar to this. It might be a civil war. It might be something happening with Iran, something happening in North Korea. But this could definitely be, Dex, a trigger event that gets much, much worse.
I really believe so. I'll be honest with you, Charlie. I'm really concerned about this situation, this Europe thing. It seems like every few months, Europe is always back on the table. Yeah. And then they start talking about, oh, this is a big deal. This is bad, blah, blah, blah. The reason why I'm really concerned about it, because this whole Europe thing is really a big deal. If and when Europe goes belly up, that's going to be the first domino, and then we're going to fall right behind them. And what's happening over there is a litmus test for what they're going to be able to get away with here. Yeah,
I think they're running this up the flagpole to see who's going to salute it, and. It was a hiccup. It was a hiccup when Parliament said no to this. But like I said, they're not done.
No, not by a long shot, Charlie. Here's the thing. We know that this has been in the works for the last few years. We just don't know when things are going to hit the fan. But it's looking like it's really teeter-tottering on the edge of collapse. I look at it like this. I don't want to be a fear-monger. And I know that there's mixed messages and signals, and I'm going to sound like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth only because I'm talking from the market perspective because I trade, so I have to use that. But here's the thing, Charlie. I believe that the economic collapse scenario, it is being started, but it's not starting with us like people always thought it would be. It's starting in Europe. What happens in Europe can affect us greatly. Even if we're not the ones that are ready to fall over the edge, we're in bad shape too, but at least our banking system is a lot better than theirs.
Let's get into that. Let's get into that and talk about how quickly a crisis in Europe will be here, because it'll be almost instantaneous. It'll be quicker than this next commercial break you're about to listen to. We're going to be right back with Dex and more Wide Awake News Radio in just a few minutes. Hang tight. All right, guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. Charlie McGrath joined by Dex, PaulScan72 from YouTube. We continued the conversation a little bit during the break. And if you're not in Justin TV or watching on Justin TV or listening through JTV, Gary, he let everybody know he was just kidding around. He's not really on a plane cruising out of the country. And he said, rightly so, where on earth would you go? I mean, your options are real slim where you don't run into a banker-controlled territory. And we could get into that, Gary, but I do want to ask you this. We're talking Cyprus. And a lot of people, I've seen some comments about, well, it's, big deal. It's $10 billion. It's less than 0.02% of the GDP of the Eurozone. But we need to remember, it doesn't matter if it's a dollar or if it's the smallest country or if it's, a very little percentage of GDP. It is about starting the dominoes falling, right? I mean, the country of Cyprus is only about 1 million people. It isn't very large, but it could certainly be the catalyst that starts a panic across Europe, especially southern Europe. And if it does spread to from Cyprus to Greece to Italy, and the people of those nations, they've been living with technocrat rule over the last 2 years solid. When they see this handwriting on the wall of what's going to happen, especially between now and 2014. Things like the ESM, this emergency stability mechanism, is supposed to kick in, giving this godlike power to the ESM that nations must forfeit wealth, and they can't challenge where it's going for, and they have absolutely no redress if they think something is wrong. And once they seize property, they never can sue for that property back. I think, Dex, the people of Europe, they've got to be waking up to the reality that they are all about to be hosed. And I can't even imagine that the banks open Thursday morning in Cyprus and we don't see a massive panic. And it might not even start in Cyprus. We could see it in other southern European nations. But I have a feeling that this could very well be a catalyst that starts real panic in Europe. And you want to talk about how quickly that could spread.
Out of the 10 currency pairs that I track, all but 2 are positive right now in the night session. We're heading down, and we're heading down fast. It's not looking good.
Explain that a little bit. Explain that for people that don't understand. All of them. Go ahead.
Okay. When a market opens for trading, and I trade futures, so when the night session opens, it constitutes the next trading day. So right now we're already trading into Wednesday, and the stock index futures, the S&P, the Dow, the Nasdaq, the Russell, the
Nikkei. You let me know that gap down, right?
Yeah, we gapped down in the open tonight in the nighttime trading session, which is that's not a good thing. And tomorrow we have FOMC with Ben Bernanke, and we're gonna get what his decisions are going to be on interest rates, what have you. It's expected that nothing's going to happen, and he's not going to say anything, no hints whatsoever as to policy coming in the near future. Here's where I believe we're going to see January of 2000 again. Are you ready for this?
Yep.
I believe that we're going to see a surprise with the rates tomorrow. He may very well do something with those rates and raise them slightly. He's done it before. Well, not he himself, but
wait a minute. Will he announce this tomorrow?
I believe
there's no way. There's no way. You know what? You and I are betting lunch on this. There's no way. If he touches interest rates, man, it's game over. It is absolutely game over.
All I'm saying is we're getting close to a situation where I believe they're going to pull the plug to see what happens.
Okay.
And let the chips fall where they may. He might do a surprise, and he may hint to that surprise tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. They've done this before. Back in 2000, we had interest rate cuts in between meetings. Okay. Without any announcement whatsoever. They would just do it. And then the markets would go insane. Insane. You would see the Nasdaq and the Dow moved 600 points in like 2 seconds once the announcement was made. I'm not kidding. I'm not making this up. And the S&P would move over 110 points in a matter of seconds, like 2 seconds. Like, here's your price now. Here's the new price, just like that. It would just send everything into catastrophe. I believe that they may do something like that again tomorrow. I believe that even if he doesn't actually announce that they've raised the rates, that he'll say something that'll give a hint and a clue, and then like maybe the end of this month or sometime in April, the news will come out that they just raised the rates in between meetings. I believe that we're on that cusp of change right now, and I think they're gonna wait and watch and see what happens in Europe. And if it happens, he's gonna be having his back against the wall and trying to figure out what he can do. Excuse me, to get himself together, and he will do anything. He said anything to prevent, the 1929 type deflationary depression. But here's what's going to happen, though. They know that they can't. That's the downside. They can't. Eventually, once this bull market.
Dex, hold on. Hold on. We're going to take this break, and I want to make a quick announcement. If you're watching on Justin TV, I think you're still hearing the audio. We have issues with my video feed right now. We'll fix that during the break. We're going to be back to hear Dex continue talking about what he thinks may happen and the outcome of raising rates, what that would look like. We're going to be right back. Hang tight. Guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. Charlie McGrath joined by Paul Scan 72 Dex from the Black Ops Traders. He's having a conversation going with the folks in chat over, I'm assuming, at Justin TV, maybe at Wide Awake News. You can join us go to Wide Awake News, click on the microphone. That'll take you into that chat. If you want to join Justin TV, there's a link there for that as well. Dex, and we're having all kinds of gremlins tonight here. Gary lost. Gary had issue with my feed. We had to restart. Now I've lost connection with the chat room. I'm reconnecting that as we go. Some nights are perfect and we have no problems, and some nights we'd have been better off just to leave everything turned off. We're not quite to that stage yet, but it's not an error-free night for sure. Dex, you wanted to talk about, I wrote this down, no matter what Bernanke comes out and says tomorrow, and I agree with you on this point, he did say he will do anything, and I do believe he will do anything to prevent a deflation, or to try to prevent a deflationary depression. It doesn't matter if he's got to create money till the cows come home. He does not want to see equities or assets deflate like they did in the 29 through World War II depression. But you're saying you don't think that they can prevent it. They can try, they can kick it down the road, but it's coming.
Yeah, and my proof is with the commodities. Commodity prices have been extremely bearish. The CRB index has been just falling out of the sky. And so you've seen the depression in prices with everything from soybeans to corn to wheat to everything. Look at poor silver. Poor silver has been like dead. It's been at one price all day long, $28.89 all day long. It hasn't even moved up or down. And as we speak right now, it's at $28.89 in the night session. So it's like dead on arrival. Gold was trying to get up and boogie. Silver's just sitting there like it's in a coma or something. So it's just one of those things. But real quick, because I want to touch on a couple other things real quick. I believe that we are going to see this deflationary depression situation continue. Everyone was so afraid of hyperinflation, but it's the opposite that's happening. We're seeing a depression in prices, but with the depression in prices is also depression in income. Because as the Dow, like I said last week, goes higher, people's pocketbooks get smaller. Even though we're correcting now in the U.S. stock indexes, it's not really a big deal just yet where you raise an eyebrow. We have so much that we've rallied from that we could stand to pull back here significantly and still not even blink an eye. It'll still be a major bull market. And I will warn people right now, this stock market right now is reminding me of silver 2 years ago. Remember how strong silver was? It just went up every day. It didn't matter what price you bought, you made money. Mm-hmm. That's the way this stock market is starting to strengthen. And I will say, unless we get some kind of catastrophe, I think we haven't even seen the markets rally yet. There's a lot you can say about why it's doing that. You can say it's inflationary. You can say because they're printing so much money. At the end of the day, none of that matters. What I'll tell you, what is making it go up, it's Ben. Ben can make it go up by printing money, or Ben can make it go up by sitting in his computer and hitting the buy button. There's so many ways they can manipulate this market to be strong. It's not even funny. I also want to warn people too, don't get caught up in the hype about market manipulation. The markets are manipulated by right, by definition. Markets, period, have always been manipulated. They have to be in order to prevent a total economic collapse. All right, collapse can still happen if the whole country has been stuck up, like pretty much every country on this planet right now. But just by definition, markets are manipulated. The Fed has always gone in and sold and bought securities to play with interest rates and do things like that. That's how you keep rates low, is by manipulating the bond market. That's how you have the plunge protection team. What do? They manipulate a crash. They go in and try to stop a crash by buying stock index futures and doing what they have to do. They'll buy straight up regular securities if they have to. They'll do whatever they got to do to keep things stable. So you have to have some aspect of manipulation in a market just to have it going like it's supposed to go. Most people will not admit to that, but it is a fact. All right, moving on. Where do we go from here? What do I see happening within the next 72 hours? Depending on how things play out when they reopen those banks, I just see pandemonium and panic setting in. And if it gets too bad, it will come over here. Even if Obama has to go on television and swear that the U.S. banks are fine and safe and well capitalized, and even if he waves balance sheets from J.P. Morgan and Goldman Sachs and Bank of America and say, "See, look at the 10K reports," he can do all of that, and that still will not prevent people from running to their bank and saying, "Give me my money." So, because Obama is clever and he knows this, he's already taken precautions. Okay, let me tell you what our country has done to make sure that everything runs smoothly here, unlike overseas. And this is why it's good to be living in the USA. See, we don't have to worry about them taking money from our accounts, okay? Because they've already showed us how they can take it from your brokerage account easily without even batting an eye. Look at John Corzine, okay? So we already are masters at taking things that don't belong to us. So what they've done to make this an easy transition for us, okay, to let us know that they got our back, is they have made it so that we are going to be protected, so that when people are rioting and stuff, when they're trying to run on the banks, they won't be able to get in the bank because the banks here will be closed just like they're overseas. So you don't have to worry about that. And they have extra security, or we just bought some new tanks that are bomb proof and bulletproof, and they can shoot you from the tanks. So not only will your money be unsafe, but your body will be safe. At least you don't have to worry about getting hurt because we have the police here to protect us. They've been militarized. They have these amazing assault weapons that can shoot through steel and armor. Not only that, but Obama, he has forethought. He purchased millions and millions of bullets ahead of this because he knows that the collapse is coming. So that if people, try to act crazy out here, he'll just start shooting. He'll just start busting caps, and then people will fall back in line and see that he's not playing. He's made provisions for all of this, and they've already extended the welfare program so that we have like 50 or 80 million people now on food stamps. So if you find it hard to eat, all you have to do is go to Obama. He'll give you food stamps, and he'll give you an Obama phone. So you don't have to worry about not having a phone. You don't have to worry about not eating. We've made provisions here. So people, all you have to do is just calm down. At least you'll have food stamps, and you'll have the military to protect you. They already have now FEMA camps up and running. They're staffed, fully staffed. They have food and stuff there. So if you lose your house, you need somewhere to stay. Obama will take care of you. He'll have someone, security, come pick you up, take you directly to the camp, give you a food stamp card, give you a cell phone, Obama phone. You straight. We don't have anything to worry about here. That's why I'm not on a plane. That's why I'm still here, because my government is going to take care of me. I
They
don't have.
sure are. Yeah, they're
So
sure going to take care of you, Dex, and the
okay.
rest of us.
So people just need to calm down. It's not that big of a deal. Yes, overseas people are going to be starving and stuff like that. They're going to die, but no one's going to die here in the United States because we have FEMA camps, we have food stamps, and we have Obama phones. We have nothing to worry about, and we have an amazing police force with tanks and stuff. So they won't let anything happen to you. So you'll be fine. Oh, but one more thing too. Just before all this spreads here to the U.S., they will send police.
What happened to Dex? Music started going, and we got Lindsey Williams. We're going to be right back with Dex, Paul Scan 72 from YouTube, more Wide Awake News Radio in just a minute. Hang tight. Welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio, final segment of this first hour with Dex, Paul Scan 72, of course, unless he wants to hang out, because coming up hour number 2 is Reginald, also known as Dimcat. He'll be the guest for the second hour. Dex, sum it up here. You know, and I know that we started off talking about Cyprus and potential bank runs. I'm not even kidding about that at all. I really do believe that there's a lot of things that could bust loose starting now, tomorrow morning with the realization that the bankers got told no inside of Cyprus. And certainly on Thursday, when the folks have a chance to take what they have left and get out of Dodge, at least as far as the banks in Cyprus and maybe more in Europe. But seriously, whatever Bernanke comes out and says tomorrow, if he comes out and says everything's going to just stay the course, but then alludes to the fact that he's thinking about increasing or driving up interest rates, that in and of itself. Man, that is the only thing that has given us Dow Jones 14,500. That's it, because it ain't anything else. It ain't the creation of jobs. It most certainly isn't the recovery that we're being touted. It isn't the stabilization of true wealth assets such as home pricing. The boots on the ground understand that things are not getting better. The 70% consumer economy isn't in recovery mode. It's going the other way. So the only thing that's kept this fantasy going, and the corporate media who's driven by this, is the bailouts and the zero interest money that's available to these institutions. Without it, it's over.
Pretty much. It's hard to put a finger on the whole game plan, but I will say this. Those that are in charge have some very dastardly plans. You don't get all these hollow tip point bullets and armored vehicles and all this stuff for nothing. You don't have these FEMA camp things now fully operational for nothing. You don't do that. You don't do the things that they've been doing, and you're not going to do anything. You don't spend money just for the heck of it. And they spent trillions of dollars building these underground cities and doing all this other stuff. You don't do that for nothing.
Right.
They know what they're up to. We just don't know exactly how and what they're going to do, but they know. The handwriting's on the wall. The market isn't really saying anything yet. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm not going to lie and say, "Oh, price action is suggesting this or that." It's not. The price action actually is, in my opinion, trying to be a little hopeful. Only thing we're doing is testing Sunday night lows. We haven't taken them out. So we're still in a tight trading range in the markets as far as the stock indexes. No real action yet. It's too soon to tell if we're going to. This is a buying opportunity to buy on the pullback, or if we're going to collapse through here. I will say that we will be on alert if we take out Sunday night's lows in the S&P, Dow, and Nasdaq. If that happens, yeah, you could say that there's cause for concern at that point, because there's no telling how low we go, and it will all be predicated on what happens overseas. And it's not just Cyprus. Cyprus is just the first domino. If things get really crazy there, they're going to be starting. It's going to spread to the entire of Europe, Just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, today when the European market closed, every country represented over there was red. Every stock exchange was red. And when I say red, I mean red. Nothing like over here. So they know
Do you
something.
think? Do you think that's just? I mean, is it a matter of that news having to get here? I can't even believe that, or is it just a matter of we believe that something as small as Cyprus can affect us in these markets?
I'm going to be honest with you, man. The market has gotten dumber over the years. This
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
This market used to be tight. It used to be wise. You could set your watch to some of the algorithms. Like you would know because the bond market was the most sophisticated in the world. The biggest and baddest traders on the planet and hedge funds on the planet operate in that bond market. And that bond market used to tell you what was what. And you would know when certain thresholds would get hit in the bonds. I don't care what the equity market's doing. If that threshold was hit, you would dump your shares and go right over to that bond market because they knew something that you didn't. And you used to be able to see those kind of signs. You don't see that now. Ever since Bernanke has been in there in that bond market, that bond market has never been the same. Just to be honest with you, in full disclosure, I have not traded bond futures in years.
Yeah.
But and since we're on full disclosure, I will tell you that I have been putting together some algorithms and spreadsheets because I am seriously thinking about getting ready to operate in that market again. And here's the thing. People think that if certain things happen with us in our debt situation, that our bond market will collapse and all this other stuff. I think it's quite the contrary. If anything, our equity market will collapse and our bond markets will go to heights that people never thought possible because interest rates will have no choice but to explode. And that's where we are right now. Also, looking at the VIX is still not doing anything. The VIX is not doing anything. It is not showing you any signs. People used to be able to look to that. The VIX has been broken for years. It does not work anymore. It's supposed to tell you when there's trouble. And right now, if you read the VIX, there's no fear. There's no fear in our markets. Our markets are shrugging this off for the most part. They're not even paying attention to it.
Yeah, doesn't that make sense to you though? I mean, I don't do this for a living like you do, but it makes complete sense to me. The people that are in the market over the last several years. You said they've become dumber, not necessarily the people, but the markets. But come on, we're trained. We're trained to believe that as long as the Fed's buying $80 billion a month, everything's going to be just fine. I sat today. I was at the gym today, and I'm looking up on the screen, and I got Neil Cavuto with the head of a big box chain of lumberyards making a pitch for why the government has to start spending more money. Why we can't reduce government spending. We have to increase the government spending. And I'm thinking, this is a so-called capitalist businessman up here and making a pitch for more government control. It doesn't surprise me in the least that anybody on Wall Street is thinking nothing about what's going on around the rest of the world or what the future could hold for the dollar or for bonds or for the equity market or real estate or anything else, because they all have been trained that if it gets so bad, even if it starts to look a little shaky, Uncle Ben is going to come out and fix it and save the day.
Well, here's the thing. Just to let you know why the disconnect is, Charlie. Explain this to me. If all the things that we know on the fundamental side of things is correct, why is gold and silver still in a major bear market?
Yeah.
Why are prices falling? Yeah, gold, rallied off its lows for the last couple days, but not really.
Yeah.
We got to get up to 1671.6 in gold to negate the downtrend.
I don't disagree with.
We're at 1611 right now.
I don't disagree with that at all, Dex. I mean, silver. Somebody could say silver's. It's in 2008 about $9 an ounce, and now it's sitting at about we'll just call it 30. Gold, let's just call it 16, and it's quadrupled in that same amount of time. But so what? That's meaningless because the amount of money that's been created since then. Our sovereign debt has went from 9 trillion to 17 trillion. It is being suppressed because if it was really keeping track with what is being done to our monetary supply and what is being done to that dollar, then gold would be at $5,000 an ounce, and silver would be at $150 an ounce. So yeah, I don't argue with that one bit. It's bearish, you bet. It should be through the moon.
Right. And that's my whole point. Gold and silver is not through the moon. It's down substantially off its highs. The fair comparison is not where it was a couple of years ago per se, but where it is in relation to what's going on in the world. And if you fear certain things on the monetary basis, then you should see prices a lot higher than they are, but they're not. It's telling you people don't believe the bad story. Right. They don't believe the negativity right now. As far as the dollar index, the U.S. dollar index now is bullish. It's in a full-blown bull market right now. And it's getting close to taking off here again, even as we speak. Like I said earlier, this U.S. dollar, the worse things get overseas, the stronger this U.S. dollar is going to get. A strong dollar is not necessarily good for exports. But then again, we're not exporting anything, are we?
No.
So that's where we are. And as far as oil, was bearish too, but now it's in a cumulo cloud and it's trying to turn bullish. It's looking like it wants to gather momentum to the upside, even though we pulled back here about $1 or $2 over the last couple of days. That's really not that significant. We're still well over $90 a barrel in crude oil. And like I told you a few weeks ago when I was on here, all things being equal, I don't care how bad things get outside, this stock market can keep roaring, and no matter how bad things get outside, this crude oil is on tap to break that $100 and go up to 140. I think we will see 140 here by the end of the year, all things being equal. If things keep going the way they are, with all this World War III talk and nuclear war starting with North Korea and everybody else, I'm telling you, as soon as something jumps off, that's it. Crude oil will be priceless, and so will this natural gas and anything in the energy markets. As far as gold and silver, they may not budge. We could wake up tomorrow, Charlie, and Europe can be on fire, and gold and silver can still be right where they are right now.
No doubt about it. Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, there's no logic whatsoever in it.
No, it's not. It just is what it is. It's been a difficult trade in these markets. I'm not going to kid you. It's been difficult, and the reason being is because there's so much chatter and rumor news out there that you cannot ignore. Like, how do you ignore a nuclear threat? You can't. How do you ignore Cyprus? You can't. You know what I'm saying? How do you ignore the FOMC coming out tomorrow? You cannot. And you don't know what he's going to say tomorrow or do, for that matter. It could be something off the hook. He could come out. They could come out with that report and then say the president's going to address the nation. And he could say, we're on lockdown, martial law. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen.
There's no doubt about it.
I don't put anything past him.
Dix, I'm inviting you to hang out. If you want to hang out with Reginald, you're more than welcome to. If you don't want to, you want to go chill, I understand that as well. You can tell me during the break. And hang tight, folks. We're going to be back with Dimcad, also known as Reginald from YouTube. Hang tight.